Hello, welcome back to a new apply time series analysis and forecasting tutorial. I haven't been posting many videos lately, but now starting 2026, I want to bring you new content. The plan for this year is to start working a little bit more in R, start creating models that are going to be able to predict different macroeconomic indicators. And the first step is how we're going to access the data. So far, we have been using Excel files, we have been downloading data. That's very time consuming. It's not very practical if you are working on a consulting firm or if you want to start creating your forecasting models, and every time you need to be downloading new data sets. So in this tutorial, I'm going to walk you through how to automate your economic forecasting models using the latest available data. Rather than manually downloaded, updated data every time a new release comes out, we'll connect to a data provider through an API key. This is going to let you pull fresh data directly into your workflow and refresh your database and model results with just a single click. So the goal is to save time, reduce manual errors, and to keep your forecasts consistently up to date. Before we proceed, I would like to invite you to subscribe to my channel. I want this year to be a great year. I would really like to get more subscribers. It's free, there's no cost. Just click on the subscribe. It's going to help me reach a wider audience, and also be aware that there's memberships for those of you who want to support the channel. There's two different streams. There's one that you can just do a small financial support, and there's another one that's going to give you access to exclusive videos. So let's go back into today's tutorial then and start talking about what is an API key. An API key is just a unique identifier issued by a data provider to a user. This is just like a password, it's like an access that the data provider is going to give you to be able to access their database. So in practice, an API key is going to allow the software, in this case it's R, but you can also do it in Python, for example. We can also do a tutorial later on how to do it in Python. And this is going to allow you to access securely the data provider like Fred. In this case, we're going to be using Fred because it's the most widely used in the, I would say, in the academic world of researchers, students. So it's a very user-friendly database. So we're going to be using Fred. And then we're going to download the data programmatically, okay? So why are we going to use an API key? Like I said, automation. Instead of clicking download a CSV on a website 50 times for 50 different variables, you're just going to write one line of code in R. The second thing that is very important is reproducibility. And if you share your R script, others can run it and get the exact same results instantly without manual file handling. So a lot of times you have to be sending files, sending data sets. Maybe there's errors with the data. Maybe there's drama. There's always problems. So we're going to be avoiding that stuff. Live updates. This is really important. Your R script will always pull the most recent data available. All right. So let's suppose that inflation came out for the month of February or for the month of December, whatever, any month, it just came out. Once you click on the code, it's going to refresh, and you're just going to get the latest data set. So this is great for when you have forecasting models. All right. Anytime you have a forecasting model and you need to feed new data, you need to be downloading Excel files, changing everything. So it's a pain in the neck. Now with this, we don't need to worry about anymore. And lastly, efficiency. So APIs allow you to query or filter data before it hits your computer. So we can manually code it in a way that it's going to pull data from a specific day. We're going to deal with conversions of data. There's many changes that we can do with the code, and that's going to be life-changing for us, guys. Now, the first thing that we need to do is to get the API key from Fred. What you're going to do is you're going to create an account. It's free. You can log in with your Google account. You're going to go then into your profile here, and you are going to go into API keys. What you're going to do is you're going to request an API key. And here you should say, I am a student or researcher, whatever you want, and need to access the data. They won't reject this. I don't know why they are asking for this, but they'll give you right away the access to the API key. So here I have my API key. Make sure that you don't show this to other people. Yes, it's supposed to be like your password, your user access to the database. So ideally, guys, don't show this to other people. It's specific and it's unique for each user. Now let's move into R. I have split the tutorial into 4 steps. So let's start working then. The first thing we need to do is to install a package. The package that we need is Fred R. This is already integrated with R, so that's great that we can work with Fred. Then you need, after you install this, we need to import the library. The library is Fred R. And then something else I'm going to add here, because we're going to need it later, is ggplot library, because I want to show you how to create an image, yes, an output of the data. So now we have to insert the API key. This is very important. This is here, you paste your API key, keep it secret, okay? So for that purpose, this is the code. It's Fred R underscore set underscore key. Here we have already for us. And you're going to put in quotations, very important, in quotations, your code here, your API key. I'm not gonna paste it now because like I said, this is personal. Step number 3, you're going to get the data. For that, let's suppose we want to pull CPI data. So we're going to, I'm just calling this CPI. Of course, you guys can call it whatever you want. This is the way we're going to start assigning the code. So the command is Fred R. We're going to open parentheses. And the first thing that we need, I like to put everything in different lines. We need, the first thing is the series ID. In this particular case, we're going to deal with CPI. So CPI AUCSL. This is the mnemonic. This is the text that represents CPI. Where do I get this? So I type here CPI, for example, USA. Next, we're going to click on the series, and here you're going to find what's the text, what's the identifier, what's the text identifier for CPI. Okay, so you're going to copy and you're going to go back into R and you're going to paste it there. Okay, so that's the series ID. The next thing we can do is you can tell, for example, when it's going to start, from when do we want to import this. Okay, so let's suppose we want this from 2010. And then the end date is observation end. And let's suppose that we want this, sorry, I forgot to type this. Let's suppose we want 2025. So till the end of 2025, all right? Something else we can look for is we can select what's the aggregation method, because what I'm gonna do with this is I'm going to be changing the frequency of our data, okay? So the aggregation method is gonna be average, and the frequency of the data, I'm gonna put this as quarterly. The data set CPI by default is a monthly data set, all right? But just for illustration purposes, I want to show you, I want to teach you how we can modify, yes, using our code, we can modify the frequency of our data, and we can convert a data set that is reported at a monthly basis. We can report it now in a quarterly frequency, and we can use the average aggregation method. Another alternative, using the end of period. That's very popular also in economics, using the end of period. So that's what we're going to do. We can use end of period, for example, and instead of putting together and making an average of the months to calculate the quarters, what's going to use is the last month of the quarter, that's going to be the value that it's going to be using for the quarterly data. Using end of period data can sometimes improve your forecast drastically. So it's something that you may want to consider using end of period data. The last thing we can do is type here head CPI, and what it's going to do is it's going to show us how our data is looking like. Something very important that I want to show you as well is here in help, you can type Fred, and you can see that in help, we're getting all these things. It's not that I'm inventing them or coming up with this stuff. You can just type here in help, Fred R, and this is already a library, like I said, it's a package, and it's showing you how you can change the start of the data set, when it ends, the frequency, limit. There's many things that you can change, all right? And something very important in the arguments here is telling you, we can, if suppose that your data is daily, like stocks are daily data, and you want to convert it to weekly, you would put here in frequency a W. If you want to change it to annual, you would put here an A. So that's very important. Then you have what's the average, like I said, sorry, the aggregation method. We have used averages and we have used end of period. I have shown you here, you can type end of period, but you can type sum as well. These are all the options. So again, I'm not going to go through all these. I want to make this very long. But here you have everything, even you have examples. So that's going to be great. The last thing that we are going to do is to create the plot. So to create the plot, all I'm going to do is ggplot. We have the CPI. We need to tell the axis. Now we have in the X, I want date. The Y value, it has to be value. I want a line. That's perfect. And what else? What else we need? I guess something we can do is we can add the labels. So we can put, for example, title, quarterly CPI. And we can also here, let's add, for example, X. The X-axis is date. And the last thing is Y. And we're going to put here CPI index. I think this is going to be all. Then we're going to use a dim. That's all. This is the code. Guys, be aware, I'm putting the code for you to download for free. Just click in the description of the video. There's a link. You can just click in there and you can basically download this script for free. So now I'm going to paste here my API key and we're going to run this and I'm going to show you what this looks like. So I have run the code. Here you can see what we get with head CPI. We print what the data looks like. We get the value and we get here date. And those are the arguments that I have used here in the graph. You can see in the x-axis, I wanted the date. In the y-axis, I wanted the values. Okay, and here we get the print with the title that we have assigned, quarterly CPI, and with the labels that we have decided here that were date for the x-axis and CPI index for the y-axis. So every time, guys, that new data comes in the next month, you run this code again. All you do is select everything, you execute it, and you're going to get always the new data sets. So this is a great way for you guys to start working on your consulting, start creating your models, and start updating your models in a very simple way without effort. So this is going to be all the tutorial for today. Please subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, let me know what you want to learn in the next tutorials. I'm going to be creating many more tutorials. I'm going to show you how to create some reports. Maybe we can work my next tutorial. Maybe we can work using some financial data from Yahoo Finance, and we can start creating some nice summaries. So, like I said, leave a comment, give it a like, share it, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next tutorial.